chair right at the moment. We can give it a few more minutes.
I haven't heard from her. Kids or
Okay.
but yes, give me
Okay, because
As soon
I'm
as the
going, I've
art
been
gallery
wanting
gets
to ask you.
organized.
yeah, sure. Yeah, I have a lot of kids I can give work to.
Good.
And my own when they're available, yes.
Okay.
Nathaniel's playing baseball. My son plays baseball in college, so he plays over the summer some, but we'll be able to work out. for you.
Okay. So then it's okay to do that, Lily.
Yeah,
I mean, it's,
absolutely.
because I'm up.
Yeah, but I'm a lot of
Jimmy, I want to
boys
talk to you about the
who
other.
were looking for work.
Okay, good.
So, yeah.
Good. How are you?
Hello.
Hey, who did you? The church didn't hire you, did they?
Guys leaving?
Who was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't see your
Is there a deadline on this?
Okay.
Oh, that's your survey, the audit.
John's like, go get your show on the road.
Whoever want to get going.
We got our chair here now, so. Is Al coming?
No,
I don't think so.
You're the chair?
Andrea, yeah.
What about Andrea?
Andrea, I think, is coming.
Yes.
Did she talk to you, Jane?
Jane's the chair.
Because she had texted me and said she was coming, but I don't know.
When?
Probably 4:30.
Oh.
I don't know.
But they were in New York.
Oh, well, maybe she didn't get back. I don't know.
I haven't talked to her since they left.
I don't know.
Okay, we can open the meeting. Roll call upon arrival. Meeting minutes are before you all. You can either do this by acclamation, accepting the minutes, or as a board, you can generally make a motion to approve them or deny them. There's no necessary criteria that occurs, though.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
I second.
Okay, now, if there would be anyone that is in deny, what's approve, I guess? Yeah, we'll do that one first. Approval, we recognize that by saying aye.
Aye.
Yeah. And if there's anyone saying no, nay, but we're all unanimous, so that's good. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And something else. All right. Let's see. There's John. Anyone else would like? Generally, at this point, this is
John.
this is where we have the real discussion. Now John's here.
Technically, he's not, he's a yay or a nay.
Oh, your turn today?
You can.
That couldn't have been fun.
We do have representatives from First Energy on the line. I believe the interim city manager provided a general overview of the project or the opportunity for a project at the last meeting. Steve, if you want to, I guess, add anything of pertinent interest.
Is this for the First Energy
Yeah.
thing? Yeah. They reached out to us in January, actually reached out to Kim Karakosis. And we spoke with Carol Tremblay, and she's their greens coordinator. The local person is Drew Wade. And not knowing the length of time I would be sitting in this position, I thought it best if we moved it over to the economic development. And John is kind of spearheading this, and we were able to facilitate a Zoom meeting with them so they can kind of lay out what they can do for us and how it can fit into our needs here in Clarksburg.
Good.
So I'm not quite sure, Drew, if you wanted to add anything or discuss anything in particular at this time.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Very excited to bring an opportunity to Clarksburg for everyone. I've talked to a few of you guys there already. So much has been given to me, within the community, and I just think it's a great idea to, bring some beautification to Clarksburg. Even if it is already beautiful, we can, make it even more beautiful, I guess you could say. I have John Bartholomew, which is my supervisor on the line, and I also have Carol Tremblay, who came with me here as well. She's actually the coordinator for the green team. Carol, would you like to take over and for everything that these guys might have, the questions they might have? She's saying that she can't hear you right now.
Yeah, I couldn't hear, what the council person said, but, yeah, we do like to engage our communities with some green projects, especially of interest to us is tree planting. So we definitely wanted to look and see if you have areas in the city to do some tree planting. We also offer up volunteer work. Our employees get 16 hours of paid volunteer time. And so we would be able to do things like help clean up the park systems. If you have a community garden, like vegetable garden, we could help maintain that, maybe even help support that a little bit. So really just trying to see, what your interest is and what we can support. And hopefully you can hear me okay.
Yes.
John, I have a question. They are just presenting right now, or can we ask them?
You can ask them questions.
Okay.
Yes. I'm not sure what the audio issue is. I thought it was working with Drew, if anyone else is having any difficulties, I guess please let me know this or let us know. Not hearing anything, I guess if you want to proceed.
Hi there. I have a question concerning, we have signage within our city in every section, basically neighborhood of the city. Do you feel like that it would be more beneficial if we maybe utilized what you are offering? Because I know you say trees. I'm thinking, and we have talked about as a committee, in planting like hydrangeas or something that will last permanently in those signage areas, because we have built-in sections with planters. So I'm thinking that maybe something like what you're offering, although a tree would be something that would be probably too large for those spaces, but would that work within what you're wanting to offer?
We don't do like just plants and flowers. We can do some smaller trees, like some of the shrub type, the flowering dogwoods, maybe even some of the like spice bush or different ones that are actually more of a shrub type tree.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't get involved in just kind of like general landscaping projects. That's not within the scope of our team.
Okay. Well, what we're hoping with these areas.
And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. And what I would really like to do, this was piggybacking off Carol, is we had talked about doing fruit trees, maybe for people who have like low income or things like that. They could come to like a community garden. I didn't know if you guys would be interested in doing that. There's some parts throughout the city of Clarksburg that I had went out and on my own time and had looked at, scoped out like places such as like Monticello or Northview or things like that. Some sections are, low. I guess you could say more like some are more low income than others. I guess you guys can get what I'm saying, but something along to that effect of doing something more beneficial to more people in the community.
Something that's more sustainable for. Okay.
Yes.
Well, what we're working toward on the signage areas, and the reason why I'm bringing that up, it's not something that would have to be maintained or replanted yearly. So that was why I thought maybe this would fit within those confines. But I understand what you're moving toward.
What size trees are you talking about? I mean, something that grows 10 feet tall or 6 feet tall?
Fruit trees, yeah. Fruit trees are fairly large.
So we buy various tree species depending on what's needed and what's native to the area. We do purchase smaller trees because we plant over 20,000 in our 5-state footprint. So we're usually planting small tree saplings. So they would, they would take a few years to grow up and actually be producing fruit. For the fruit trees, we usually get a little bit bigger than maybe, I don't know, somewhere in the 3 to 4 foot range. And I'm told by the nursery they should start producing fruit in about 3 years. So that's what we've done for other food banks like in New Jersey and in Ohio.
So you primarily are interested in low-income areas to provide a food source, in other words. I mean, you're looking for a community that, like a community garden project where you could actually put fruit-bearing trees, is that correct? More so than
That would definitely be a project.
But my question is, though, that's what you're more interested in rather than from a beautification aspect. You're more inclined to want to provide a food source or whatever, like a community garden and a food source in that sense, rather than a true beautification. Like Lily suggested with the planters that we have in the neighborhoods, which are a beautification project for those particular neighborhoods, even though some of them may be lower income. But that's more where our group is involved.
Well, to follow up on that, in terms of, it sounds like there's a wide variety of trees that are available through the program. Is there a process where there's like either some kind of design work to establish which trees should go where for First Energy, or would that be something that you would work with the city to establish what we would think would be most practical for the location and what's going to A, be maintainable, and B, provide that, I guess, good canopy that we'd be also trying to get with this to get to the beautification aspects of the project for the, I guess, more opportunities with using these trees.
So yes, we are more focused on probably like, think of it as increasing the tree canopies, bringing back that tree canopy to the lower income areas, and also with the fruit trees, it gets us into a second sustainability initiative of helping provide food for that community. So we are, yes, more interested in that area than just beautification. I guess we're looking a little bit more functional than just, the beauty, which is important. I understand that. As far as the tree species, yes, we would work with you on, depending on the area you wanted to plant. If you had a community garden and you wanted to simply get some more pollinating trees in there, we would work with you as to what are good native species, and then also help you plan that. We can do that. If you're in a different area where you need some, maybe some tall trees, you have an area that gets a lot of stormwater runoff and might need trees to help maintain that water filtration and helping dry up some areas, we would be able to help you select different trees for that. So it does really depend on the project as to what kind of tree we would be working with you to recommend. And we like to always go with native species because they really are going to do the best in this area.
Drew, you had said that you came and you looked around. What were you said Monticello and Northview. Did you look at anywhere else?
I did. When I had a little bit of time there a few months ago, those were a couple of areas. I also looked at an area where I believe, now I'm not sure if you guys can help me out on this, where a new project may be happening where Stonewall Jackson's log cabin may be going in. I looked there, and also right beside Gomart in that big beautiful field where there's nothing there. I don't know if somebody heard that or not, but that would be, when people are coming in and out of Clarksburg, like, hey, like, look at that. Like, it'd be an attention grabber for, just not certain people, but it could be for everyone.
You talk about the Gomart at Chestnut, Maine?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That, you look at that field to the right of it,
That's a graveyard.
Yeah, right beside Pier Pond.
Pierpont.
Oh, Pierpont, oh, that's Pierpont's.
That's difficult.
That might be a feasible collaboration.
And I also spoke with Gene Papa to see if he would like to maybe let us use some of his land there in Clarksburg, right by the bus stop, and he had told me no, unfortunately. So there are some, hoops we may have to jump through, but I don't know if he owns that field or if the city owns that. I'm not really sure.
He owns that.
He owns it. Yeah, well, I think probably my suggestion would be that we discuss it among ourselves and talk about, what everybody's ideas are on this end. I mean, we appreciate your trying to reach out to us. I mean, this is just a little bit different than what we do, but, we just need to discuss it among ourselves, but, do we have a timeline that we need to get back with you, or what's your suggestion on that?
Carol, would you like to answer that?
Yeah, so this is an ongoing project for First Energy. We're in our 4th year of doing this. So while we normally plant in the spring and fall, if we get applications during the summer for tree plantings, then we just start planting them for the fall time. So any time of year is fine. And as far as volunteer work, if it's, more like park maintenance, we can do that in the summertime. So there is no deadline. I don't know, Drew, did you provide them the brochure that we have that they could fill it out if they?
Yeah, I can do that. I have not done that, but I can definitely do that. And also, I just wanted to let you guys know, yes, it's great publicity for First Energy, but it's also great publicity for you all as well in the city of Clarksburg. We could bring in Channel 12, Channel 5, whoever, and, so on and so on. But it's just bringing light to Clarksburg itself. It's not a Drew Wade project. It's not a First Energy project. It's a Clarksburg project that we just want to assist you guys with, and make sure that we can make Clarksburg still remain great. So.
Hey Drew, when you look around at Clarksburg and the size of it, do you have a certain number of trees that you try to provide, or can we just put them wherever we see fit or wherever you see fit? I mean, you try to give,
I think there's some ambiguity. I didn't mean to cut you off. I think there's some ambiguity there where there might be like, where should we put these at? I think if we both, like the council and First Energy ourselves, I think if we collaborate, we can work something out for sure. When we could put these trees. I just have looked around. That's not to say my idea is right. You guys know the town better than I do. I live in Fairmont, so I just wanted to bring, greatness to Clarksburg. So if you guys know of places that you would like to put trees or things like that, by all means, we are all ears. We want to help you guys and, so forth. I think it's a great relationship with the city and the power company. I just think it looks good on both ends.
now does it have to be city-owned property? Can it be privately owned property?
Not without permission.
That's a great question for Carol.
Yes. So we do not plant on private property owners' land.
Okay.
Our program is really geared to maximize the benefit of the trees for the general public. So that's why we target like public parks, schools, places where multiple people have access to the trees and are getting the benefit. We also don't want to get into liability issues with being on a property owner's land and planting trees for them. That can open up kind of a bad door that we don't want to go in. So they are in public areas only,
Well, I know you had
but that
mentioned,
usually covers a lot of areas.
I know you had mentioned Gene Papa's property, so I didn't know if, that was something that was feasible, or if it had to be, I'm sorry,
Whose property?
Gene.
Gene Papa.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, like I said, I had spoke with him, and he would, in a roundabout way, the family's just against it. They like keeping things the way they are, I guess you could say. But no, like I said, this is a whole team effort. This would not just be First Energy volunteers that are coming out, and I don't want anybody thinking that we're here to steal the spotlight. There is no spotlight. Like I said, the city is the spotlight. We would definitely want you guys to come out as well, or have some volunteers to help alongside us. I mean, like I said, it's a hand-in-hand partnership with this, and I just think it's a heck of an idea. I think of the small business owners, how I got here today. I didn't get here by myself. I got here I talked to, the Barbarians who just opened up Tony's Ice Cream. I talked to, other people who went to RCB and Bridgeport and things like that. So the heart of the community is there. I just really want us to work alongside each other and make this happen, because I just think it's great for the community. I don't want Clarksburg to take a back seat anymore.
Yeah, we appreciate your time and your effort, and if you could get us the application and let us discuss it, that would be great.
Absolutely. I'll make sure I get that over there to you guys.
Any other questions?
Will it have a list of what trees you provide?
Carol, I believe they do, right?
It doesn't on the brochure, but I can send you through a list of the tree species that are commonly available. It's not a all inclusive list, but it gives you a good idea of the different trees we're able to order.
And John, thank you, Carol. I'll make sure, John, I send that to you.
That'd be good.
With a few days, okay?
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you. The next item involves just the downtown streetscape design discussion, planning follow-up. We had the online discussion, or I guess the materials were sent out just on email regarding some similar downtowns, specifically looking at Berkeley Springs, Ranson. I'm trying to remember the other one now. But looking at Lewisburg, looking at opportunities that are existing in West Virginia, so that we'd be able to provide that information to the DOH, so that we can provide justifiable. This is how we can do this. They're doing it in this district. How come we can't? That's not to say that it's not difficult, but we've earlier today, received the response back from the DOH on the general feasibility of changing around parking in the downtown, and it's pretty much a no-go. So if we're able to find additional, in terms of angled parking, then the traffic engineer reiterated the reluctance to have angled parking as a result of impacts to the flow of traffic, so you have the vehicles turning into the travel lane. It was engineering. This is the way it is. So, okay. So with that in mind, this project could be one opportunity to complement the physical plantings of that plan. So when we were discussing the potential for the cylinder bases and the other planter types, being able to put shrubs into those, or being able to find something to complement, and this was just one avenue that we can take on that. But if you'd like, we can I can continue providing you additional information via online, or we can have just a general discussion at the next meeting with the current state of the draft. I think that what we're waiting for at this time is just trying to hear back from, I guess, the award of, I believe we had a grant associated, yes, the CDBG sidewalk grant associated with that project. So we should have more information hopefully in the coming months. So that concludes all that staff has for you today. At this time, then, if there's any general announcements.
Can I give a little update on what we're doing? Today we had a meeting. I don't know if everybody's seen, but the Stonewall Jackson replica is done, it's final. And the next step moving forward is, starting tours. We had our meeting today, everybody decided what our tour route was going to be and that kind of stuff, so within the next month, we should start seeing some stuff happen.
Good.
I also had some not flyers, they're gonna be rack cards sort of. And I had one that was made up that we did that is just sort of like a parking ticket, except Larry would just put them on all the cars in town once a day or whatever. That's more or less says, thank you for visiting historic downtown Clarksburg. Tours available, and then the backside lists, check out these sites in Clarksburg. Stonewall Jackson's birthplace, Civil War sites, historic architecture, Clarksburg History Museum, the Art Gallery, Stonewall Coffee, delicious local cuisines, Gore 4 Sports Simulator, Clarksburg Harrison Public Library, Robinson Grand Theater, Splash Zone Water Park, golf courses, salons, the Railroad Club, Clarksburg Amphitheater, the Clarksburg Visitors Bureau, that would just say to anybody that's here already, here are some things you can do in town. So this is, one thing that we're looking at doing. And then, of course, we've got another type of rack card that's going to tell you what the actual tour is going to be. The Stonewall Jackson Civil Tour and the Historical Marker Tours. So that's where we're at. And I'm starting to talk to the bus company to see about renting the trolley and do all of that kind of stuff.
What about the markers? So what's the deal with those?
I haven't started, well, first off, the art gallery would be the fourth marker. The first two markers, the History Museum, birthplace, the Splash Zone. The city has already approved two of those markers for me in a grant, or I don't know what you call it. What is it? Funding. And the third one would be the Splash Zone that I think the city's going to take care of, or at least that's what I'm hoping. And then the fourth one, I would like to see it be the art gallery that's up here uptown, once it gets up and organized. And the reason I'm asking for presenting four is because there is not an attraction sign out on 79. It's attached to the gasoline one, I think. I'm not sure. And there's two on it. So for us to get a separate attraction sign, we need to fill it. So four of them, and the two that are on there right now, which are both Marshall University something or another that really I don't think are attractions, but they're on the attraction sign right now. So if we had four more to add to it, then they've got to put up a new attraction sign. And of course, they're $2,000 for 3 years, and you have to be open a certain amount of time. So that's why I thought the art gallery, which is right here, and that's an attraction that people would like to see. The Splash Zone, which I think we could manage to get by with a seasonal sign put on it, which I think people would understand that, being we're not in Florida. The History Museum is the History Museum, and the Stonewall Jackson birthplace is what it is. And so far, right now, we have a museum sign that's on Route 50. And you get off at Chestnut Street, and then there's another one. And then there's another one where you get to go, Mark, with arrows pointing. And its original one said museum. Well, now we have added, the city has made the sign birthplace of Stonewall Jackson, so it's added to our signs. So when you would get off of 79, you're going to be directed to Chestnut Street. And then as soon as the art gallery gets open, that would be the third sign on. We still have enough room for one sign, John, you think?
We'll figure it out.
Well, yeah. And we've already got the signs, are already en route, and the route looks good. So there isn't really, nobody's burned a house down and it's sitting there crumbling. Everything looks pretty good, until we get to a couple spots here in town. I've put paper up in the golf building windows. We've talked to Johnny B's Clothes, the old owner's coming back, and he said he was in favor of doing a facade grant. So this is mainly me and Ashley Marinere going around browbeating people into this stuff. And he said he was willing to do stuff. And I was sort of waiting to see what was happening to this building over here on 3rd Street, except I was told three different people were interested in buying them, and talked to all three of them, and none of them are. So I was going to contact that owner, asked if we could take down the awnings and put paper up in their windows.
Is that Jerry Wilcox?
Yes. So supposedly, the people we were told, or I was told at another meeting, none of them are interested in buying it. So I thought I'd at least approach him, see if we could get his awnings down.
I'll talk to him,
Okay.
because he gave us permission to do the side of that building. We were gonna do the green space. But I'll talk to him about
You know,
that.
and then that makes, other than the Folio's 2 buildings, that makes everything pleasant to look at. And then somebody can go talk to Victor or Joe
Well,
or whatever, or
Joe,
Joe.
I've talked to Joe about that before too. Joe was pretty willing
Just
to work with us.
Freelander building, fix the glass window there, and the front of my sister's daughter's uncle's cousin's, whatever the name of it is, and it's right in the center of where the birthplace is here. That's the next spot. You turn around, look, and there's the courthouse, and our tour is the birthplace, the courthouse, right here in downtown. And I just would like to see it look a lot nicer before we try to bring people in.
I'll talk to Joe and Victor, because they won't allow us to put any kind of a mural or anything on that building though. Joe was for it, but Victor wasn't. He totally was opposed to that.
Well, is it up to code with a plywood door and a plywood window?
Well, that brings up another very good discussion. I think we need to have tonight, a huge discussion. I don't know if anybody's been aware of what's going on, but we had Mr. Ferris come, a couple months ago, I believe, to council and approach council about Paul House on Main. And he's been fighting that for 10 to 15 years. And, that is right in the middle of our historic district, and it's a real
Which is
mess.
another tour. That's another tour down the road.
My whole point. And so if we have the Harrison and we have the trolley and we're going on a tour in Clarksburg, we're gonna go right by a total disaster sitting right in the middle of it. So code apparently went out. I noticed the other day that Danny had sent a text. Mr. Ferris had sent a text. He goes to my church and said that code was over there and had posted that something had to be done with the yard, a cleanup, whatever. And he texted me that a week ago, maybe, or 10 days ago, and apparently not anything's been touched or done. So again, here we are. We're trying to beautify the city to whatever degree that we can, and yet we have homeowners in this area that totally are oblivious to codes and what's going on. They could care the least.
We checked the house is secured, but the yard is a disaster.
Well, the porch is falling off, Johnny, the windows are broken out. I think there's codes for all that.
Yeah, but I'm saying as far as being secure, the house is secure, all the doors, all that stuff, that's all still secure. But the yard.
And you guys have been mowing the grass, according to Mr. Ferris, for he knows at least 5 to 8 years.
That's how we get in the new video.
Does he pay the mowing fine?
That's a different department.
He does.
He does?
He does.
So we just keep mowing his grass and let it continue to sit there.
He's got a
And-
contractor hired. He hasn't started on the project yet. The guy was working on some other concrete pads that were taking precedent, but
So we're just gonna let him take his time, and if it takes 2 years, then it's okay?
Jane, I'm not.
I know,
code
Steve,
enforcement.
I'm not after you. I'm upset with our code that we can't enforce these code laws.
Well, Ashley has spoke with the contractor. The contractor's first job obligation for that project, his application or his permit was from April 1st to the end of the month. He gave him a 30-day permit to clean the property up.
Is that just to clean the,
To clean the property up. His first project is to fix the front yard, to do away with that big pile of leaves. He's gonna address that first. Try to add a little curb appeal. If it's not done within a timely fashion, there are limitations to what we can do.
Well, I read code the other day. I pulled it up on my computer.
Right.
And I could cite, and I'm not, an engineer, I'm not a contractor, but I could see so many things that were against code for the city of Clarksburg that house, it was all there.
I'm
Broken windows,
and I'm not denying any of that.
rotten wood. I just have to wonder, why is our code department? Yeah, I just don't, on Main Street, which we have 17 acres supposedly that are the historical district in that area, and that's right in the middle of them. And then you've got neighbors all complaining, because they all call me, and they say, why can't this be taken care of? You know, we've looked at this for 10 years, 12 years, you know, and they're mad, and I understand it. And, you know, so what do we tell them? Do we say, well, he's on the water board, so it's being looked over?
I don't believe that that's the case at all.
Well, that's what the
I think
general
that's-
public thinks.
I agree that's the conjecture, but that is not the case at all. He pays his NOVs, he pays his violations. He's got, the house is full of construction material. I think he's trying to sell the house. I'm not
Oh,
sure.
he has. One of the neighbors told me he was asking $180,000,
I don't know. I don't know anything
which
about
is his prerogative.
Right.
But, you know, that's a joke, as we all know. But, you know, I mean, it's just a shame. I mean, that this, and again, if we have the Harrison and it's going through the historical district, which is where it would go through, that's one of the areas in Clarksburg, then, you know, that's right in the middle of it. That's my problem with being on this beautification committee. We try to do everything we can to make this town look better and to get a different opinion of Clarksburg. Because if we didn't care, none of us would be here. It's not like we're getting paid for this. You know, we're trying our best to make a difference. Yeah, you're going to have naysayers. You know, they're going to complain about our murals. They're going to complain about anything. That's fine. We're making an effort. We're trying.
Well, look at Chestnut Street. I mean, all the way down to my shop. I mean, the houses are deplorable. You can't even walk on the sidewalk because people park their cars on them.
Which is another code
I mean,
that you're not allowed to do in the
No.
city. So, you know, I don't know, I'm frustrated.
Unfortunately, there's no easy answer for any of those concerns. They're all valid, and they're unfortunately not unique to Clarksburg. It's not even unique just to West Virginia. It's a problem with just general maintenance of the property, the homeowner or the property owner's ability to physically do that, and then there's the problem with them wanting to do that. I think everyone can distinguish the differences that may exist from case to case, but the problem we have to deal with is we're dealing with code we have to apply equally. And oftentimes that's resulted in some, I guess, unique opportunities for not necessarily evasion, but for properties to escape scrutiny. It's something that takes time. That's
Well,
the
the last
unfortunate
person
answer.
that called me and complained said to me, maybe if my last name was Howe, I could get away from doing anything to my property, which is directly across the street, which is a very well-kept home, because she is livid about it. And I understand what she's saying, and I also understand, you know, his brother was city manager for years, so everybody assumed that the reason it was like that is because the brother protected him. So the brother's been going for 19 years, or since 2019 now. The house has been like that for 15 years. What do we tell people when they ask us that? What should we say? Call the code enforcement department?
So if there's an issue going on, if it needs 911, if someone's getting into the structure.
Mr. Ferris says that on a regular basis, Johnny Workman has gone out there and secured that how many times because of all the complaints. And the lady that I'm speaking of told me the other day that they run people off regularly, almost nightly. So there we are.
Jane, there's a plan in place currently right now where every vacant and condemned property is being checked weekly. The police department just went out and checked all those properties. There was nobody in any properties over in that area of town this past weekend. In fact, one officer fell through a porch trying to gain access and broke an ankle. Is going to be off for 4 weeks, just trying to go around and checking these condemned properties. They found nobody in these properties.
But Steve, that's you brought up a very good point there. You know, our taxpayer dollars pay those policemen. They have more important things to do than go check dilapidated houses in residential areas. We need our city attorney or someone to start holding these people's feet to the fire and say, this can't go on. We don't need Mr. Workman with his crew out cutting lawns and people paying the city to cut their lawn. We don't need it.
We're trying to put more teeth into this. What we're completely doing, going through and revamping the code so we can put more teeth into
The
this.
council is working on trying to ramp up the code so that because my concern and issue since I've been on council is absolutely Clarksburg is not unique, but I drive through Bridgeport and I don't see the same issues. So obviously we're not doing something here. I know we have different clientele in Clarksburg, but and the sad part about it is these are not property owners. Not all of them are property owners that are not capable and that do not have the means to take care of these properties or to do what they need to do with these properties, which makes it even more of a problem in some ways. We have lots directly in the center of our downtown that the city mows the moose lot, and the lot looks horrendous in the summertime. That's been something that I've complained about since I've been elected to council. I personally went down and cut trees out of that myself. So I know that there are issues, but it does take time. 15 years, if I were the neighbor,
Oh, they're furious.
I probably would have already moved,
And I understand.
which I do not.
Burn the house down.
I don't think I'd have done that, but I would have thought about it probably. But anyway,
Well, you know, that's.
so we are working on trying to ramp that up. There's got to be a solution.
Mhm.
We don't need to reinvent the wheel. Other cities have faced these problems. What are they doing, to do that? Why are we only charging, if he's able to pay those NOVs, that's a problem.
It's a big problem
Because they should be stiffer. The penalty should be stiffer. And it's not just him.
No.
I don't want it to
No,
seem like that.
No, it's
There
not
are
just
several
that.
properties throughout this city that our public works are tied up in mowing, cleaning, clearing, securing, and that should not be the case at whatever we're charging.
No.
So
And in fact, if they're charging $100 or whatever, it should be $500. If we come out and mow your grass, it should be $500.
we are trying to do like a leveling system where
It
the
needs
first
to be.
time it'll be a certain amount. After you've been a repeat offender for so long, we want to try to amp that up. I've been working with Mr. Carr. We've been in communication back and forth about, trying to figure out some solutions on that. Those are the behind the scene things that, people aren't aware of. And hopefully we can get those moving and into place. But, I definitely sense the frustration and understand that.
Well, even all the cars parked on the sidewalks. Chestnut Street's an obstacle course. The cop drives down there, give them a ticket.
Exactly. That's,
From the
again,
cemetery all the way to the end.
I don't think that we have a non-responsive police department though, so,
No, I'm not saying.
but if those things are occurring, they have to know about it.
well, and give you another prime example of parking on the sidewalk. Recently, Kathy Goings' home sold, and there's a business in there now, from what I understand, it's speech.
Speech there.
Yeah, whatever. And they're parking on the sidewalk because when I left the church the other day, you couldn't see to get out because they had 4 cars on the sidewalk. So again, I had a person with me that said, isn't there an ordinance in this town that you can't park on the sidewalks? I said, yes, there is. And they said, well, there's 4 cars there. And I said, yeah, there
And these are
certainly
just
is.
little things. Write them tickets.
But I think we have a wonderful police department.
Yes.
Believe me, I think Mark Titty is a wonderful man. I can't sing his praises enough. And he's got it back up to where it's a full police department. You call the police, they come now, they're responsive. But I'm saying that again, when you trickle it all down, it all goes back to code. A lot of it is code.
And these issues are not new. Chestnut Street's been like that for years. You walk in the street because you can't get to the sidewalks and the cars are bobbing and weaving. It's not changed.
And again, with, you know,
And
we
you look at
need,
those houses at the top of the hill all the way down.
yeah, and we need stiffer fines, you know, we need slum landlords to really not want to be a slum landlord anymore. You know, they want it, that you put enough heat on them, eventually they're gonna say, okay, I'm selling it to a flipper, or I'm, you know, whatever, I'm gonna fix it up.
I mean, we can plant all the flowers we want, but it's things like that that are discouraging.
Speaking of flowers, John, not to change the subject,
No.
but how are the baskets coming? Are they,
What these are.
oh, I didn't even look at it.
Jay just gave you.
Let's, so I don't know how involved, Johnny, in the past, you and I have worked together on planting and things like that, and picking, flowers. I don't know if Jane or how we want to go about that, but I know that there are specific areas too, like the V at, the triangle. And you talked about putting some vegetation in there this spring possibly.
That's on the last page.
So that is on here. I didn't see that. Okay.
Green stripes.
Where is it?
Yeah, bottom of the last page.
Mhm.
Oh, rock bed. I see that. Okay, gotcha. Okay. Okay.
And Johnny, this is still going through the guy that,
No, this is.
Yeah, who's this?
I'm gonna submit quotes from the 3 different vendors.
okay,
So this is kind of where we kind of walk these locations with a couple of different people and got recommendations, because again, I just put them in the ground, I don't pick them, got up and, we did do some, hydrangeas last year in some of these locations. I have looked at some other, perennials. I'm looking for something that's gonna flower for the entire season. Another one is azaleas. I don't want, it's gonna bloom in the spring and then it'll be a big green bush the rest of the year. So,
I personally would like to see hydrangeas in every planter.
we can add some, I need to see what we put.
Every sign is what I mean, not planter necessarily.
Well, we put some-
So that it's uniform throughout
The neighborhood.
the neighborhood sign. So it's uniform, it's easy maintenance. It's not something if we get that taken care of, then every year we don't have to refill those.
yeah, because they're perennials and they will grow, they'll come back. I mean, look what happened on that green space that we had those planters in, those hydrangeas in, these things did grow. And by the way, that's another thing too on my notes. What about the green space? What have we decided, Steve, with that?
We have another,
It's on the list.
yeah.
Lisa's taken care of.
It's not going to be available for us to do anything with,
Then
so,
are we going
right?
to be able
Now we
to?
gotta do the planters.
huh?
We need to move those planters.
Yeah, that's what I was just getting ready to
That's kind of up
say.
to Kim. He's asking, when should he move those planters?
We're gonna start construction there, right?
Whatever you want.
Then we can get back away.
So we need to determine where to put those.
We got files somewhere.
And we also need to determine what to do with the other things that were purchased for that area.
Exactly. We've
Um,
talked about that a couple meetings ago.
I had an idea for the wind sculpture,
Mhm.
and I don't know, just a suggestion, because I'm racking my brain on where to put that. I'm thinking when you're entering East Point, where the sign is for East Point when you're heading
Right hand side.
when you're heading, like you're going to be driving into the high wall, where the sign that says East Point, you know where I mean? Wendy's would be on the left. Yes, maybe there. I'm thinking that, we don't really give a lot of attention.
I don't think
It's busy.
It's not big enough.
Yeah, I don't think it's as big as everybody thinks it is. I think it would get lost there, but hey, we look at it. It's,
Yes.
Not to interrupt, but to get back to the parking lot area, the green space, I'm not sure what the pieces that you're talking about,
Mhm.
but when I was doing, some sketches, beautification sketches on how we would like to have that be a centerpiece, it's gonna be probably the best beautiful
Pretty.
parking lot ever.
Yeah.
We can get you fruit trees.
He doesn't want those. They don't want those.
Fruit trees attract birds, and birds live in my parking lot.
They're also really dirty.
But what I was thinking is right on the corner of
Yeah.
Third and West Pike Street, there's gonna be an area of kind of dead space that we're not gonna be able to really do anything with.
Okay,
And
perfect.
for me personally, I love the idea, and I almost broke my ankle in it the other day, where they used to put the big
Tree.
old Christmas tree in there. And I would like to, and we'll pay for it, but, what I'm planning on doing is specifically when we're doing the construction is putting, underneath electrical conduit,
Mhm.
that we're responsible for solar, because it's gonna run off of our light posts. But, you know, I'm always thinking about lights. I love
Mhm.
lights.
Yes.
Solar lights for the holidays, and even not during the holidays.
Mhm.
I'm a lover, and I actually do landscape architecture, so I might be able to help you out with some of this stuff
Great.
as well.
Great.
And I have done public places like this, commercial properties. But anyways, what I was thinking of doing is doing something masonry related,
Mhm.
not necessarily a planter, but more like a stone wall type of beautiful area. And I don't know if something like that.
That would work in the
Be
center.
perfect there, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it wouldn't be in the center. It would
In the
be-
center of
Of
the
the
mason
planter.
of
Oh,
the,
in the
yeah.
plan, yeah.
And maybe do boxwoods or
I
something small
love,
around that.
so you just hit the nail right on the
Yeah.
head.
That would
I
look
love-
great.
And if I put conduit to that
So we
area,
would
and then
still
it can be
own-
solar lit up,
That would look
year
great.
round.
We would still.
But I'm
And it's about the right size for that,
And
for
yeah.
something like that, don't you think, Johnny?
It would still
That's,
be
that's,
basically-
yeah.
And I'm
That's
a
what it
fan,
was really
I'm a
more.
fan of like the spiral, slow growing boxwoods and something
Yeah.
that looks
I'm
nice
saying
year
just-
round and it's
Yeah.
classy and it's
Stays
easy
green
to
and-
prune and
Yeah.
trim and it doesn't
Exactly.
grow and,
She can
because
show
I
you
am
the
thinking
plan.
of, you know,
She's got
I am a visionary with this stuff.
Yeah.
And thinking of, you know, getting water in there, being able to put a water on timer that isn't accessible to backpackers and bathtubs and taking baths and stuff, but, you know, something like little sprinkler heads that would pop up and.
I think that'd be a great idea.
And
So we can collaborate with you on that,
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
And yeah, so.
That'd be a great
and I would
idea.
like to-
because that's originally where we had planned that to be. But we just figured, you know, we were moving aside so you guys could do what you needed to there.
And again, I'm willing to work with anybody on any ideas and stay open-minded on anything.
Okay.
Because it's just as important to me to have that be a, you know, an eyesight instead of an eyesore, so.
Yeah.
Okay,
Great.
perfect.
So don't,
Yep.
you know, everybody knows how to get a hold of me, so.
Okay.
Great idea.
Yeah, well, we definitely want to get that. When are you looking to start?
I don't know, we're just in the final phases right now, doing all the finished legal work and stuff like that, and just quoting and,
So maybe by the end of the summer?
oh, yeah.
Okay,
Sure.
okay.
Yeah, so I just would need to know how big it is, I've never seen it, I don't know.
We
really.
have photographs and it's,
Oh.
Johnny can show you.
It's still in the box.
Yeah. I think it was probably.
It honestly is not in my backyard,
Yeah.
contrary to popular belief.
Yeah. Just like the speed bump.
Yeah, I don't even know where it is.
But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, it's not, from what I can remember, when Harry ordered it, it seemed like it was no more than 10 feet at the most.
It's like 10 maybe.
Yeah,
It would be perfect in that space.
yeah, it would be, because that's what it was bought for.
Mhm.
Spiral.
Yeah.
And we could put a spotlight or
Yeah.
some lights.
It's
around
pretty.
it.
It's a nice piece.
So that would
but-
be ideal.
Yeah, it found a
Yeah,
home.
so-
I would sell that. I'm just telling you right now, I get that pavilions.
You're talking about
Oh, the
the
pavilion.
pavilion. That's
That
not
was
something that could be utilized in a park that we have, or,
It's not commercial grade. Okay, so it's something more like you would buy. It came from Waco.
Yeah.
Okay?
Why don't you see if Tim Gentilozzi wants it? Might
we've
look
talked
better
about
than-
that, but I don't know if he,
No, it's more like what you put in your backyard, it would be to put in a commercial location where you're gonna have a lot of foot traffic.
Put that in your backyard.
there you go. Oh, I can't find
We'll
this
sell
thing.
it. You can sell it.
Yeah, would you have to
Yeah, just
auction?
sell it. If it's
You'd have
not,
to
if it's not
auction.
usable to the city to use it, sell
How much did we pay for that?
It
I was gonna say.
It wasn't
I didn't
very
think it
much.
was a lot of money.
I was involved in him, like he showed me what it looked like
Yeah.
and the wind sculpture also,
I
so.
can tell you what it looks exactly like. It's on Monticello Avenue.
Oh,
This house on Monticello Avenue you're talking about. That's exactly what it looks like.
Well,
Buying city things is easy, selling city property.
yeah.
Extremely
it's not.
difficult.
Another story.
Make it a fundraiser, it's a
You
raffle.
can't-
How
you
about
can't-
that?
You can't sell things like you think.
Trying to get confidence to come in town and give me a quote. So I can already, buy one.
He's got a whole warehouse full of stuff that he'd like to get rid of, and you can't just sell things that are city property.
Well, and that's another
Very
thing.
complicated.
We have a lot of those
You know.
metal benches, which if we ever get the streetscape, if we ever get something done with the main part, I mean, those benches would be ideal, Johnny, those metal benches that were not cheap.
Yes, sir. The only bad thing about those benches are they're not homeless backpack. That's why they took them down.
Yeah, but we have a police department now.
No, we do. No, we do. I'm just saying, that's why they.
And it's
came out.
fully
They were
staffed.
outlaws.
So I'm not sure that that would be allowed to happen anymore like it used to be. But that, you know,
I was thinking about something with the,
I haven't seen that for a long time. I haven't
do
seen
we own the
that.
property where
anywhere.
the survivor tree
I mean,
is?
I see them walking, but I haven't seen
Beside
them.
the Harris County
Board
Board
of
of Ed.
Education owns that. They own that
Is he
whole,
in there?
Board of Education owns the whole.
Where the survivor tree is?
That's good education.
Yeah, all that belongs to them.
Okay, I was just trying to think about
We
that.
maintain the survivor.
Yeah.
That little strip in the front, we mulch out, we take care of all that little piece. The flag falls off.
They take care of the rest of it in
In
the
the
back.
back. they take care of
What
all
is
that.
the anticipated? John, what is the anticipated date that the baskets might go up?
What? That's not etched in stone, that's just.
We usually do it after Mother's Day, right, Connie?
Yes, middle or end of May. We've learned our
Well,
lesson.
that's-
They won't hit the ground, we'll start doing the planters probably with Memorial Day
Good,
and the pots and stuff. yeah.
Okay.
good.
Just wondered.
So Johnny, could you look into, for me, I love you, Johnny. Instead of any type of annual planting in our signage,
We'll check on some ideas.
Perennials.
I know we put some out last year, but we didn't buy them, they're expensive. We didn't buy a lot of them last year, I know we can hydrangeas and some of the native plants. There are some out there, maybe not all, but there are some.
Are they growing? Or they dead?
Soon to grow.
Yeah, I
I
saw
mean, because
one.
everything's coming up.
Yeah,
Well,
they're,
Well, then if that one's
yeah.
coming up, the other ones are.
it will, I did try to look at some different flower type shrubbery. The problem with having is it's either early spring blooming or it's a late summer bloom.
well, they bloom all summer. And they're easy to maintain.
I don't want to just all of those, you know what I mean? We need to put some diversity out.
I think if you had them right in those planters, you don't have to do anything with them then. Once they get big enough, they're easy to maintain.
I got everybody look. So we'll look.
And one more thing too, and I'll interrupt you for a second here. I want y'all to look at this when you get a chance, Steve and all you guys. Take a look at this. This is small towns in the South and some of the beautification aspects of what they've done. Savannah is number 2, and Charleston is number 1, and I think Beaufort's 3 or 4. But we actually have a couple in West Virginia. We have Harper's Ferry and Shepherdstown, which I was shocked. But this is really interesting. I'll pass that down,
Lewisburg is
Steve, for
pretty
you
big,
to,
too.
when you get a chance, take a look at. It gives you some ideas about their streetscapes and some of the things that they've done. And granted, they have a lot more tourist attractions there than we do. But we have a lot of things that we've let go by the wayside over the years that could make us a desirable area.
Very much so.
So you may want to look that up.
Well, I think obviously one of our main focuses is the downtown streetscape and getting that
Yeah.
squared away and planned, and we got to get
Yes.
rolling on that
Yes.
because if they pave, we don't want to put the cart before the horse.
No.
We've got multifaceted things going on.
Yeah.
The other thing is 2026, we're looking for
2026, what?
And that's when the water line's gonna be coming
Yeah.
down. And they're gonna repair the lead lines in downtown Clarksburg. So to be doing a beautiful downtown streetscape.
It's gonna be torn up in
And then
2026.
2026, they're gonna tear up the street to fix all the lead lines in downtown. That's the last, that's phase 3. That's the last 26, 27, probably when they'll get to that.
Mhm.
So we're trying to work all these facets of the water board coming in. We're worried about even the street paving this summer
Yeah.
because we've got to completely redesign all that.
So what's the deal with your timeline on these planners, Johnny, on this, the end of April?
I gotta have, I think next week, I gotta have these orders so I can get flyers.
Well, then I think we should decide, I mean, is this,
This is what.
This is a quote. We have to get 3 quotes.
you
Yeah.
haven't gotten the other two then? Okay.
You're coming.
And are they showing you specifics on flowers? Because,
This is a kind of.
A general idea of what they're gonna.
so do you all want input on that, Jane?
Yeah, to a degree. I mean, I think that we need to know, a lot of us, I mean, and I'm an amateur gardener. Like, for instance, this young lady would have a great idea on these plants, but I look at them, I know what vinca is, I know what some of these are, but I think the majority of us don't. So I think we definitely need
Where's
to,
an ivy guy?
But John also
I
knows
think
what's
you're right
been
on
successful and what hasn't been too.
yeah. Well, that's
We have
why
to get with
when-
the norm. What
This
do
is
you-
not-
Is this pretty much what was in there last year?
No,
these are.
I'm not crazy about the variation of what we got here. But
You know what my idea is, and Johnny, I know you don't want to hear this, but I'm going to throw it out there anyway. When you go through Bridgeport, they use the colors red and white because that's Bridgeport's colors. I don't know, and our colors are what, blue and
Red and
blue,
white.
white, red, white, blue, or whatever they are. But I mean, maybe we should try to stay along those lines with the colors that are the city
Last
colors.
year, the Bridgeport's were purple. Their hanging grasses were purple last
They
year.
were, I thought they were all red and white.
They were purple.
But anyway, I mean, that's just a suggestion.
They have to be replaced, they got the same issues we have, I've talked to them extensively. And I've talked to the people who plant their flowers, they have the same issues we have.
Well, the guy that was the horticulturalist that we worked with,
Buchanan and these cities you guys mentioned, the difference is, this is their issue. This is ours. We're massive. We got a lot of plants on it.
yeah, we got a lot of areas.
So, this is what, if there's stuff when you don't like it, you want to change it, you need to let me know. Because I gotta get this stuff ordered. I've gotta get it ordered.
Well,
I'd have to
can't
see your
do
other
that.
2 quotes.
Yeah, we can't do that without the other
Based
two.
on this, the other 2 quotes are based on this. So if you want to change this, I need to know.
So if we could send out an email reminder to everyone tomorrow, then.
This list was created by taking these greenhouses with us out to these locations and taking recommendations from these people who look at these greenhouses. People
So
who do
we're not gonna have the same people that are maintaining them like they did last year. We won't have that necessarily.
He's out there running too.
He's in the bid, okay.
Close.
Will they maintain or provide the same services as they did last year?
They will grow additional plants for us if we die, yes.
They will?
Yeah, with all.
From everyone you're getting quotes from?
Yeah, you can see on here, they got on here about cleaning and sanitizing the ponds, so that's on here.
Okay.
He used that guy's formula basically.
To do.
So we'll get, once you get the
Yeah.
lists, we can share them then with the beautification committee. And we'll be looking for a turnaround the next week.
Yeah, this is the list, but you check.
Yeah.
So we've got to get moving, because we gotta get it ordered.
If you want your bug and do, you're gonna need to tell him.
I'm
Well,
going to, don't worry.
where are the quotes from? Is Plant Seed?
Yeah, this is not plant seeds.
Okay, but do we have one coming from him? And we
Yeah.
have, and where's this one?
This is trees.
You'd like to say?
Okay,
It's
Freeds.
Freeze.
And then where's the third one?
I can try to get that lady from Buchanan, because you gotta have a greenhouse, who else you got? You know, you have greenhouses.
Where do we store the baskets out of the
I don't store any of those, that's the idea. These come in and we plant them, the day they come in.
I mean, where are the planters, the planters still hanging out there? Where are the planters at now?
The Public Works has them.
They're stored up below, but they go right now, the inserts.
I mean, we've come a long way from when we first started and you guys were planting them from the school's material, which was a great idea, but it just,
I guess
not
what
functioning.
I'm wondering is, if you take them down, you have the inserts, we reuse them, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so why can't we slowly start putting annuals? Or, I don't know, annuals, what comes back every year?
Perennials.
Well, perennials aren't,
Slowly start putting it, I know when my mom takes.
They're
her
not
house-
blooming.
perennials aren't,
They're
wouldn't be
not-
functional in that setting, Jim.
Where are you gonna store them
I don't know, where you store them now?
at?
They don't take-
Inside a building.
Inside the
All I know is when my mom pulls her stuff out in spring, it's already this high. I'm just
We don't
wondering
have,
if
I
we
don't have a
slow.
greenhouse yet. I don't have no place to store it.
I know.
We stack it in a warehouse.
Well, a perennial wouldn't really be functional in a basket like that.
Those are good for planters, like the big planters, Jimmy. but
Now,
not-
could we do more perennials in our planters? Absolutely, and it would cut down,
Well, we're working on the
Cost.
but it's expensive to
Yeah, I
do
know.
up in the upfront. But I think that,
Way more.
huh?
Perennials cost way more than what they need.
But it's 6 of one, half a dozen the other,
Yeah, right.
because you're paying for it now, and then you're never once in a while you might have to replace something.
So right now, this year, we're very limited budget
Yeah,
for that purchase. Now, after July, we have a large budget on purchase.
yeah,
That's what you gotta remember, this is fiscal year we're in now.
right.
That budget was not built to sustain what we're going to do. And one drawing I will come for next year, it's quite different.
Well, my suggestion, I know you gotta get a couple more of
You see
these
the- you see
quotes,
the total
but
cost of where you're at right now?
What is it? Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
Plant the Seed did a pretty good job last year.
Did a great
Johnny,
job.
you worked well with him,
Yeah.
didn't you?
But I have to get more than one quote.
Yeah.
So,
I know. But my suggestion is we go with Plant the Seed again because he basically did a wonderful. He was very good. He gave us a lot of pointers and the baskets looked really beautiful last year.
Yeah, but you have to take the lowest quote.
Yeah. If everyone
Do you
is-
have to take the lowest quote?
Yes.
Well, it's most qualified, I mean,
Yeah,
be
I mean-
justified.
It's pretty hard
It
to
depends.
disqualify, because like I said,
Yeah.
it's not like I'm going to the local school, I'm going to the greenhouse.
Yeah, these are actual businesses, established businesses, yeah.
That's what I'm going to do.
Well, and what you do, I mean, if we get a couple other quotes and this happens to be our lowest quote, then maybe we could go to him and say, hey, will you do it for $5 less?
what?
Whatever.
Get those numbers out there.
Well.
You trying to get these guys killed, Jane?
I can. I can, Johnny.
No, Johnny, I'll be in touch with you. But, and there's, I don't know, part of me says, put whatever in there. I don't care.
I'll help you, John, if you want some help.
When they're up and they're thriving, I guess whatever's in them, if they look nice and they're well maintained.
Yeah.
We had a good year last year.
Yeah,
Good year.
it was
Yeah,
a
they
real-
were
it was a
nice.
good
They
year. They
really,
looked
really
looked
good.
great.
Yeah, they were good baskets. The best ever, I think. So,
One thing we could do, we could utilize our social networking to also just send it out, just get general solicitation from the public.
don't even go there.
Oh,
Don't even go there.
Oh, I had to ask it.
Well, slash that.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, my Lord.
Okay.
Let us know.
So is that pretty much everything we had that we spoke about or talked
Yes.
about? Or
And staff, we'll be sending out this via email again, just to get everyone, make sure we get everything by next week. We'll be having probably a 4-month discussion regarding the first energy project. It sounds like we'd be able to have some preliminary discussions in May regarding an application, getting something to them in June, maybe having direct follow-up, and if necessary, finalizing in August. So,
My opinion, I said it.
What is it?
Well,
I agree. They're dirty, it's a long,
we will be
You're
doing
saying
some
for
research.
the main street, absolutely.
Stay away from the fruit trees.
Yeah.
Well, one thing to keep in mind, and we will discuss this with him, is the adaptability of the tree. So, I mean, we're trying peach trees at home. Personally, I think they're pretty nice looking, but we'll see.
well, they are, but, they're dirty.
Well, but there's also other opportunities for trees.
Oh,
that-
they're,
There's a lot of lights, there's a lot of disease.
And I think even though they have really good intentions, I really think it's more for a food source is what their angle was.
Yeah.
Like with the community garden, and that's.
Well, let them do that.
Yeah.
Let them do that. We've got community gardens, let them go there
But
and
we
do
are
that.
not, that's not what we are about. That's not what this group's about, so.
Yeah, but,
you know.
but that could be something, looking at nut varieties as well.
That's not street.
Do you have my email address?
I do not.
I would say, because I don't know when the meetings are, and I don't get anything.
Do we want to plan the next meeting,
And that
Steve?
would be my biggest.
Do we want to talk about the next meeting?
So John, what do you want from us on the planning
Yeah.
of the main?
If you want anything to be on the agenda, otherwise we will continue to have these on have the scheduled meeting the second Monday of each week. Each month.
Of each month.
Yeah, Jane, we kind of have made them so that they're,
Good, yeah, where they're uniform, where we know exactly.
what do you need from us, John, on the Main Street project? Are you wanting more ideas from us, or are you wanting us to, is that something we?
Yeah, so we need to finalize some specific designs that we'd like to pursue. I'll round up some additional information, and we can include that in May, then to actually have a presentation on potential ideas. By that time, we should have more information regarding the CDBG grant or the appropriations for the Main Street sidewalk project. So,
Is it possible that this committee could have like a work session with you on that, so that we could have more?
yeah, we can have a general.
Just throwing out ideas is a little bit vague.
Well, and that's something we could do, if you'd like to do it prior to next meeting, or like we could have just a regular meeting, but instead then directly go into a workshop session, just to this in general discussion regarding the downtown.
After, if the grant is approved, how long do you have to move on something like that?
Well, it all depends on what the funding award stipulates, but we've set the project up. The initial project being a 5-year CIP for a sidewalk. So we have it set up that with the next budget, if we were to be awarded, we'd be able to utilize that money as match to then work on the future rounds for, I believe we'd be doing like further towards Pierpont. So it's in that realm. It's not necessarily something that's going to happen in the next year.
Right. I had another question. I can't remember what it was. Okay.
But so yes, we will.
Oh, I know.
Get you some ideas of how-
Would the grant money be something that we could utilize toward a firm in devising that plan, or is that something that would have to come from staff?
No. We could, that's going to be not necessarily, so the actual sidewalk is going to be more of an engineering, this is
Right.
what the cuts section's gonna look like, this much stone and whatnot, that sort of plan document. We've pursued grants, the NEA grant in particular, that have a clear focus on these types of plans. We're still waiting to hear back on those award notifications. And I think, I don't want to throw Brittany on the spot, but it's just one of those things where once we have either getting notice that we've received funding, or from federal agencies, if they say we haven't, then we can have a better understanding of why we didn't receive the funding. But as it is right now, we're still in a waiting pattern.
Because I don't know if we should sit down and do, plans or preliminary plans toward what it would look like without a firm being
Just a
involved
waste
in,
of time.
how to plan that out.
Well, no, okay, so for a master planning process, that can go into the overall physical engineering plans. I would recommend at least proceeding with general ideas and general desires for what you want the downtown to look like, and putting those either into some sort of formal plan or just some kind of general guideline recommendation, because otherwise it's just not going to happen. We'll be in a situation where every major repair is just our opportunity to fix the sidewalks, as opposed to, well, we've been planning for this phase of the sidewalk program, and so we can integrate the improvements into it. So I think we can investigate the opportunity to have a landscape architect practitioner involved. If that would be something that the committee would like to investigate.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't feel qualified to do that.
I mean,
I know what I like visually, but I don't know.
Okay.
And I want something sustainable. It's gonna.
Okay. So then, in keeping with just general time frames, this would probably be something. I'll have to see if we're able to do this either in early June or into the next fiscal year, just for funds associated with downtown beautification. I think those funds could possibly come from the same line item, but to be able to have a real firm mission, with that real firm master plan for the downtown. So that's all I have.
Okay.
anybody else?
Motion for adjournment,
Pardon me?
motion for adjournment.
Second?
I'm opposed.
Let us down here.
That's a long one.
Jimmy's over here.
Hey. Are y'all small?